So, somebody, please, other than me, state the obvious that Joe Biden is not cognitively well. I don't say that because I'm trying to get clicks or go viral. I say that because the man is clearly, it's truly unbelievable. If you didn't see it, here we go.
How would you get those same Republicans to work with you?
Well, look, the next president of the United States is going to have to do two things. Defeat Donald Trump. That's number one. And number two, it's going to have to be able to go into states like Georgia and North Carolina and other places and get a Senate majority. That's what I'll do. You have to ask yourself up here, who is most likely to be able to win the nomination in the first place, to win the presidency in the first place? And secondly, who is most likely to increase the number of people who are Democrats in the House and in the Senate? And by the way, I learned something about these impeachment trials. I learned, number one, that Donald Trump doesn't want me to be the nominee. That's pretty clear. He held up aid to make sure that, while at the same time, innocent people in the Donbass are being killed by Russian soldiers. Secondly, I found out that Vladimir Putin doesn't want me to be president. So I've learned a lot about these hearings early on from these hearings that are being held. But the bottom line is, I think we have to ask ourselves the honest question: who is most likely to do what needs to be done? Produce a Democratic majority in the United States Senate, maintain the House, and beat Trump.
Can I state the obvious, folks? Can I state the obvious? And again, I want to be very clear. This is not to tease Joe Biden. This is not to play politics, to get clicks, to go viral. I am a journalist. I have eyes, and it is my job to state what we see in front of us. Whether you want to attribute it to old age, whether you want to attribute it to something else. I'm not going to play internet doctor. That's not appropriate. We don't do diagnoses. Joe Biden is clearly declining mentally. And if the Democratic Party's main goal, we got to bring in Michael Bloomberg, we got to bring in Deval Patrick, who's next, Jeff Bezos? If the main goal is to defeat Donald Trump, you're going to put somebody up who is essentially one moment away from combusting in front of our eyes against one of the most skilled snakes politically in American history? You could say a lot of things about Donald Trump. Obviously, there's hearings going on. Obviously, he's corrupt. I personally think he should be impeached for many things, including the Ukraine thing. But he's a damn good salesman. He's a damn good marketer. He's an expert on reverse psychology. He's an expert on canceling out your attacks with deflection. And he's not yet stumbling and mumbling through all of his points. By the way, to state the obvious, if Bernie Sanders was stuttering, if Bernie Sanders was pausing, clearly losing his train of thought, if Bernie Sanders was, frankly, falling apart mentally in front of our eyes on a debate stage, MSNBC would be bringing in health experts, would be bringing in doctors, CNN would be bringing in Sanjay Gupta. They would not only be telling him to drop out of the presidential race. They would not only be telling him to drop out as a senator. They would be recommending which nursing home he should go to. I don't say that humorously. This is the truth. But and by the way, this is not my opinion. I have spoken with, at least at this point, 4 or 5 journalists who work for corporate media outlets. They are all talking about this behind the scenes. They are all talking about this. This is what's being chattered about at these debates. but not one will dare say anything on air or in print. It's time for Joe Biden's family to step in here. It's time for Joe Biden's campaign to step in here. His loved ones, his friends. I'm not saying he has a actual cognitive illness. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to play one on the internet in my parents' kitchen to get clicks. But do you really want your husband or your father or your whatever to essentially, for his legacy, which I think is a terrible legacy, but they don't, to be remembered for literally, if he's the nominee, losing to Donald Trump because he basically was falling apart due to old age and health? 3 seconds is all it took. 3 seconds is all it took for this man to start stuttering and mumbling. This is not, everyone's different, obviously, but you got somebody the same exact age right next to him who's not having these mental struggles. So if he is talking and performing this way in November 2019, I'm saying this because if the goal is to defeat Donald Trump, cognitive decline, in a lot of cases, it happens relatively quick. If he's struggling this way in November 2019, how do you think he's going to perform almost a year later in October 2020 in 3 debates against whether you like him or not, one of the most skilled snakes and politicians in American history? You think Hillary Clinton's defeat to Donald Trump was something? Wait till Joe Biden loses. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.